Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Peter Sai with Aortic Warriors. Here we have the pleasure of talking to Carlous Abner from Grandview, Missouri. So, Carlos, please tell us what happened on that fateful day.
About 3 o'clock in the morning, I felt this pop or explosion in my stomach. I uh, I was asleep and it woke me up because it hurt and I could actually hear and feel it. I got up to look at it and there was a protrusion in my abdomen. It was just a protrusion there, and I would press on it. There would be no pain. I'd let it go and it would just feel like a lot of pressure. So my thought was to call my physician, my primary physician, the next day and trying to find out what was going on because I thought I had just pulled a muscle. That's what I was thinking. When I contacted my doctor, Dr. Barnett did not see me physically, but he told me that he thought that I was having an ulcer. And I'm saying, nah, And he prescribed over the phone prescription strength Malox, which I went to get and I took, and of course, nothing else happened. And all the while, this protrusion was still in my stomach. This bubble or whatever you would think of calling it was still there. So I called him back and said, the medication did not do anything, and I still have this bubble in my stomach. And he said, okay, now this was on Wednesday. This was Thursday. He said, I'm going to send you to Research Medical Center, which is in Kansas City, Missouri. I went to Research Medical Center, and I'm driving from Grandview, which is about 25 miles away. I went to Research, and this was on a Saturday. And when I get there, they tell me initially that it's a gallstone. No one has actually looked at me physically. Said it's a gallstone, and some doctor walked in or intern and said, let him come back tomorrow, which would have been Sunday, the fifth day, and we'll give him a CT scan. So I drive back home. I come back Sunday, and initially there was a problem with the paperwork. They were saying with the insurance. Apparently that was resolved, and they gave me a CT scan somewhere around 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. I go back to Grandview, and about 11:50 a.m. Sunday, I get this call, and the doctor on the other end is as nervous as I don't know. He was very, very nervous, and this is what he tells me. This is specific. You need to go right now to Baptist Medical Center. They are waiting on you in surgery. I said, what's wrong? What is it? They will tell you when you get there. And do not drive. Doctor, I've been driving for 5 days. I could have hurt somebody. So anyway, I tell my friend that's with me, I've waited all this time. Let's just wait to halftime because I'm watching the Bears game. I still don't know what the heck is going on. So halftime comes, she drives me to Baptist Medical Center, which was not the original hospital that I began this or find out what was going on. I get there, they say that the surgeon is coming in by helicopter. I'm saying, what is wrong with me? And he tells me that I have, I think he said aneurysm. I said, well, what is it? He said, it's your artery is the walls. He did not say the walls. He said you have a blood vessel that is not doing what it should be doing. And he asked me. He said, "How long have you had this?" I said, "5 days." That man turned white as a sheet. He said, "You should not be alive." I'm saying, what? What are you talking about? I got to that hospital at 1 o'clock, 1:06. I was in surgery. After the initial surgery, I began to find out what the situation was and what had happened, and that I should not have been alive. One of the walls actually broke, so
Mm,
it began to fill up with blood, and it filled up with blood for those 5 days. They said it was larger than a grapefruit.
mm,
Um, so at that time, they told me that they were going to give me CT scans every 6 months. They said they were going to do this because it looks like that my aorta just may be genetically weak, and that was an abdominal aortic repair. Approximately, that was 88. My next one was um, 93.
So the first one was December of 1988.
It was January 17th, 1988, when they actually did the surgery.
January 17, 1988. Surgery. Okay.
1988. In 19, now, every 6 months since that time, they have been looking at my aorta. That's when they really realized, or told me that it was genetically weak, and they had to keep monitoring it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think my missus and I were in. We were in the Big Island of Hawaii, which is Hawaii, and we were going through the lava fields, and I felt this pressure in my left side, and I did not want to say anything to her, but I knew something was wrong. So we came back home in 1990. We came back home, and I called my physician, and he said you need to have another CT scan, which is kind of obvious. So they told me that. I think went to Baptist Medical Center this time. They went to have the CT scan. My doctor said, because I work what we call here the PM shift from 3 to 11:30. I went to work, and they had told me before I went to work if I did not receive a call by 5 o'clock, everything was okay. About 10:30 that night, I received a call, and they said whatever you're doing, you stop, you get off your feet, and have someone to take you home. I'm saying, is it another one? They say yes, and it's in a different place. Um, I go to the hospital, because this had to be February 1990. I go to the hospital. I'm thinking they're just going to maybe do another CT scan, or look at me, and that was not the case. They told me then that the chances of surviving the surgery were less than 50%. The chances of permanent paralysis were greater than 30%. But if you don't have the surgery, you know the outcome. I said, well, yes, I do. So in February 88, February of 90, they did a repair of a thoracic aortic aneurysm. Um, uh, as you know, it took some time to recover from that, and it took well, about 2 years, but I started doing normal activities long before that. Maybe 6 to 9 months I was doing normal activities. What was what I thought was important after that time were the CAT scans or CT scans done every 6 months. So I continued doing that even when they were changing positions. They kept monitoring it, and over time, you learn to live with the with the surgery. But as you know, when the weather changes or when the barometric pressure becomes low, you ache. It's just it's just a horrible feeling. It's a feeling of you being unable to do anything. You're not aware of what's going on. I think I used to go to the hospital, especially in the spring or in the fall when the weather changes, because of what I was feeling. And eventually I just told myself I'm just not going to run to the hospital because there's nothing that they can actually do. And I started to understand that with the changes of barometric pressure, I was going from the warm of the outside into an air conditioned building, I'm going to hurt because that's what it does. And over time, I adjusted to this. And one thing that I did not do was I did not stop being active. I did not stop trying to eat correctly. And I did not stress or worry about what I had no control over. All I could do was continue to get the CT scan. And if I had not done the CT scan or had the aneurysms, they would not have found my cancer.
Oh.
I had spindle cell tumor in my stomach. And that was part of the area they were looking at, and that was removed in 93. So I had no more issues with my aneurysms up until now as far as the surgery. In June of this year, I had been to have another CT scan in September of 15 because of the symptoms had started all over again. I said, and I know something's wrong. So I went to, at that time, the St. Joseph Hospital, and they told me that doctor that day said that, I was as healthy as he was, and that the size of the aneurysm had not increased to where it was critical. In June of this year, no, July of this year, no, June 8th, I went to see my cardiologist, and I said, remember now, we have to get a CT scan because I had been feeling something was wrong, period. Something was wrong. So he sent me from his office to St. Joseph Hospital. They did a CT scan. He left a message on my phone that evening, and this is what he said. He said, Carlos, this is not an emergency, but it is immediate. Dr. Sai, there is no difference. He said the aneurysm had grown to the point where something has to be done, and we cannot do the surgery here in Kansas City. He was giving me the option of the doctors that he knew. I'm thinking that these are the ones in his network that could do it. He was talking about one at Stanford. He mentioned one that was retired, and he mentioned a Dr. Mark Moon that was in St. Louis, which is on the east side of the state, which is the nearest one to where I was. He told me that if I was a good candidate for the surgery, and I was, he said that would not be a problem. He would send, with my permission, all of the information that he had to Dr. Mark Moon in St. Louis. So this all started after the 8th of June, and I thought that they were taking too long, and I tried to get all three doctors on the line. I got a secretary here, a secretary in Dr. Moon's office, who said that she would get Dr. Moon to call me after his surgery on that particular time. This was approximately the 31st of July. She actually did contact Dr. Moon. Dr. Moon called me, and this is what he told me. He said, we can do this. He told me that there would be 2 teams of surgeons, and that this would be, and he never stopped using this adjective, a very big operation. My family drove me up to St. Louis on the 6th of August. I went to Barnes Jewish Hospital in St. Louis, Missouri. On the 7th of August, that Monday morning, I went to surgery. I woke up Tuesday. They did, at this particular time, cardiothoracic aortic aneurysm repair. I can't tell you how many days in ICU because I went from ICU to ICU step down. I spent a total of 11 days in the hospital, and they kept telling me each day, depending on which doctor it was, I was recovering way ahead of time, and this was a big operation. They released me on the 17th. I had to go back to see Dr. Moon on the 14th of September. The family members drove me back up there because I could not drive, period. Dr. Moon said to them this was a big operation and that I should be able to resume normal activities, which will be December the 7th of next month. Well, even though he told me this, Doctor, what I missed was resume normal activities after the 7th of December. I attempted to do them prior to that. I had a home nurse, physical therapist, occupational therapist, and didn't have the strength to do what was normal. I just didn't have it. But gradually, it started to come back, and I still cannot be in any position, including the one I'm in now, without pain. But I think that the pain is the fact that the body is healing. I would tell anyone with any kind of will and desire to go on, you can you can live through this. I'm a living testament. But with there being no guidelines, or you as an individual won't have any idea of what might be occurring or happening to you when you have an aneurysm, you have to have a CT scan, because that's all it's going to show. You're going to feel pressure. At least that's what I always felt in my case. And the initial one, I mean, it actually broke, one wall did, and I survived. And I tell my children, especially my sons, once they get into their 40s, in fact, before, you need to start having annual CAT scans, even though it's not part of the regular regimen. You have to have it, because, as you know, in one of your postcards, it's a silent killer. You don't know, and it's always, in my case, misdiagnosed. They don't have an idea what's going on with you, and that could also be the reason that a lot of people have and will expire from this condition. It's not properly diagnosed. It's not the seriousness of it, as you know. There's nothing more serious. But with all these symptoms that physicians are trained to look for, this is not one that they actually take serious enough. And I think that is, I don't know how that can be improved, but it needs to be improved. I'm not here by what physicians only have done. There's a higher calling, because I should not be here. And this has been going on since '88. And they told me, Dr. Moon, with this particular surgery, because not supposedly, they replaced my aorta from the arch, he said, to my collarbone down into my abdomen. I have a new aorta. He also said they replaced another supplemental arteries. I don't think anything back there is supplemental. But as you know, the surgery itself can be done. It's just getting to the surgery and surviving the surgery. But if you don't have it, there are no options. You're gonna die. So I think that constantly monitoring your health is essential. Questioning your doctor about what they assume and what you think, there has to be a correlation. Because 10 times out of 10 with an aneurysm, they'll make the wrong diagnosis. That I can speak for. They'll make the wrong diagnosis. The only thing that seems to show it to this point are CT scans, and I think now sonograms can do it. And that's my story. I'm here, and I have been living with this for 29 years.
Yes.
29 years. So they can, once diagnosed, you can live with it.
Yes.
And you have to make some adjustments, but you can live with it. I don't mean just survive. You can live with it.
Yes. So, have there been any restrictions in your life?
As Dr. Moon said, whatever I wish to do in 4 months, once I regain my strength, I can start doing. During my other surgeries, there would be a period of time that you would have to heal. I went back to playing golf. I went back to playing tennis. I went back to playing racquetball. I went back to working full time. There are no restrictions. That's one of the things about an aneurysm that is so strange, because if they are repaired, it's as if you were never in such a dire strait. You can go back to doing any and everything. But if the aneurysm is not repaired, it's a totally different story.
So you had mentioned that your whole aorta has been repaired. Was it a stent that they put underneath your aorta? How did they repair that? Do you remember?
I have not read it, but my son is a doctor, and they're telling me that, as with the initial one, they put in what you would call a graft, plastic tubing.
Okay.
And also plastic tubing with the thoracic. Now it's plastic tubing from the arch down to, I guess, almost the beginning of my femoral arteries.
Wow.
Plastic tube. That's what's there.
Wow.
And I have not asked Dr. Moon about the longevity of this particular surgery, but they told me in the beginning in '88 that that tubing would last longer than what I would. I never had a problem with it. And they're constantly checking my blood flow from head to toe. They're constantly doing that.
Okay.
Uh, it's been amazing. I'm very thankful for being able to be here. But you can live a normal life if it's diagnosed.
And
If
properly
it's
treated.
not, right. If it's not, we would not be talking.
Right. Right. Well, congratulations on 29 years of this.
29 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so what would you say to someone who's never heard of aortic aneurysm, and how would you be able to bring that awareness to them to say, hey, you need to know about this?
I would tell anyone, especially after 35, if there is something that happens in your abdominal or thoracic areas that you may think or feel it's a muscle strain or cramp and it continues and there's a protrusion, you need to go see a physician right away because that's what it is. We normally underassume what it could be because I don't know if it's being manly or well, I'll go to the doctor later. Put those thoughts aside. This is something you're totally unprepared for. Go to a physician and, as you said earlier, get proper diagnosis because it's life threatening and it
Yes.
needs to be attended. It needs to have some attention.
And as you said, most men are too macho to go
That's
to.
that's the word.
Right? We don't want to go to the hospital. Everything's fine. I'll go home and I'll sleep it off. And I mean, it's amazing that you actually survived 5 days. Um,
Five, they couldn't believe it. They said there's no way in the world that you should be alive.
mm,
I said, well, I guess that's not up to you.
yeah.
That's all I can say because doctor, I had no idea. No idea. But I've been reading, I've been looking at my vascular system as far as anatomy, and I'm coming to understand. And there's really nothing that you do to bring them on. I mean, if there's a weakness in a part of your aorta, it's just there. And unfortunately, it has to have immediate attention
Yes.
because it's only going to get weaker, which means worse, which means not always a good thing. Not
Right.
always a good thing.
Well, I'm glad that you are having your children get checked. As you know, this could be genetic, so
It could be, and yes, it's mandatory that they do this. Mandatory.
and that's good. Um, well, we are pretty much done. So, are you on any medication for maintenance?
I am on a baby aspirin, 81 milligrams, and I was on Crestor, and I was taking, and this sounds strange, a hypertension medication prior to this last surgery. I will not see my cardiologist again until January. My blood pressure is 123 over 64.
Oh, that's really good. And you're
And
functional.
I'm very functional. I just have to heal, doctor, before I start to do things. And I'm not healed. And it took me 2.5 months to realize
Mm.
I'm not able. I just can't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And but eventually I will be because I remember after that thoracic surgery in 90, six, six, 9 months to a year, any and everything that I wanted to do, I could do without pain,
Mm-hmm.
except for the change in barometric pressure or going into an air conditioning. Things you can live with.
Mm-hmm.
But doing my normal activities, which would be the golf, the tennis, anything athletic, plus, working, raising a family, none of that is curtailed.
Okay.
None of that was.
Okay.
You just go back to the normal life.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time, Carlos. Before we end, do you have anything you would like to say to new survivors out there? I mean, you've gone through this now 29 years. there are people that might be watching this that are less than 3 months or maybe 1 year, and they're thinking, man, life is so hard, and how many more years do I have? Am I about to die? All the time. I just feel that all the time. And here you've been through it for 29 years. What would you say to those new survivors?
Stop stressing. Control what you can control.
Mm.
Your thoughts have a lot to do with your physical well-being. It was never in my mind to stop doing anything. If there was going to be a stoppage, it was not going to be because of me. It's working or living with this is a mental adjustment. If you are not willing to have strength in who you are, your faith, and take life day to day, you will have problems. But if you do these things, even though you may have some physical situations, you will still have an unlimited ability to live your life as the best as it can be lived.
Yes.
All of this adjustment has to be done with you mentally. You know that you have this. I'm telling you, you can live with it and live well. I'm proof.
Mm-hmm.
You can live well.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to be mentally able to accept, okay, I've got it. What will I do next? And what you should do next is not worry. Live your life.
Mm-hmm.
Live
right.
it.
That's right.
Enjoy it. Always make sure that you are in constant contact with your primary physician who will give you a cardiologist. And the conversations between your doctors should be two-way. They don't know what you feel. You have to make them understand something is not right. Because you're basing it on symptoms as far as they're concerned. I would never want a physician to have to go through this to understand. So you have to be able to relate to them something's not right. And that's about all you can say because you just feel like you'll feel this pressure and you'll know something's not right. The test will justify or verify what you're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And there's many times that they'll justify that, okay, there may be some changes in pressure, but the centimeter has not increased enough to warrant an operation.
Mm-hmm.
But understand this, the checks are done, but there's no guarantee that they will give you a CT scan before the possibility of a rupture.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be vigilant.
Mm-hmm.
If you know something's wrong, go see a physician.
Yes. Well, you touched on two really important points. One is kind of the new normal, which we call it. You may or may not be able to go back to exactly what you were doing before, but you need to learn to adjust. And like you said, it's mental. It's in the mind. You gotta really be aware of what you're doing and learning what the new normal is. And then the second one is that being your own personal advocate of health. Because like you said, the doctor don't know. You have to bring those symptoms up to the doctor so that the doctor can try to figure out what's going on. But if you don't say anything and you're being quiet, doctors, they're not mind readers.
No, it's not. And that's, as you said, that little being macho, let that nonsense go.
Mm-hmm.
Make them aware of your situations.
Yes.
And as you said, they have to be informed.
Mm-hmm.
Constantly inform them. Even if you think it's too much, inform them.
Yes.
It's never too much. It is never too much. This is your life.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And the aneurysm, as we have been discussing, they're not to be taken lightly. That's the best way to put it.
Yes. Yes. And just so the public know, aneurysm is different than a dissection and definitely different than a rupture. So it is, it's just as serious, but it is different. So, well, thank you for your time, Carlos. Before we finish, anything you want to say to close?
I want to say thank you because after my initial contact, you have done everything that you could possibly do to get us on an interview, and I appreciate that. That means a lot to me, and to share it with anyone, yourself included, I'm just hoping that it gives them some help. Yes. I'm just hoping that it does that. Because we were discussing, you can live it, you can make it.
Yes, thank you very much for that because Right now, as of now, you are the one that survived the longest I've ever interviewed. 29 years.
Wow. Wow.
so so congratulations on that, and we really want this to help other people out there that's worried about living 1 or 2 years. 29
Man,
years, it's a long time. So
you can do it. You
yes,
can do it.
yes. Well, thank you very much for your time, Carlos. And that's it. Thank you for your time.
And thank you. Thank you, Doc. Thank you.